Hello, and welcome to Belting at Windmills, a proud member of the Doof Network, where we're explanting James S. A. Corey's novel series, The Expanse. I'm longtime Expanse fan, Elliot Diebold.
And making my first journey up the well, I'm Reuben Morehouse. This week, we're continuing our coverage of Cibola Burn, chapters 8 through to 14. The chapters this week, Holden is finally arriving to bring law to the town, but he's too late again, and it doesn't quite work out that way.
I can't wait to talk about how this concept of Holden being late for everything.
There's a long distance between places. I don't know. It's not. It's not Holden's fault. It takes him some time to get there.
I mean, yeah, considering it took RCE 18 months. I mean,
Yes.
They got here in like less than 3, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they had a head start because they started from whatever we're calling the Nauvoo now, but yeah. Anyway, let's get into the chapters. We start with chapter 8. We're in Elvy's head, and basically Elvy and Fires and their new BFF Felsia are just
their new assistant.
Their intern basically. They're all just weathering what seems to be like a daily, regular, predictable dust storm that just completely blankets this section of the planet for a regular interval of time each afternoon. And I mean, this leads to them all kind of talking about what this planet has to offer for their various fields of study. Felsia leads up to a big embarrassing confession, which is that she wants a letter of recommendation.
Yeah, which is a great beat when she's working herself up to it.
But yeah, like I already sort of called it out in my description, but I love how weird it is that this is like a cyclical dust storm. Like it helps sell that this is an alien planet, that it's just like, oh yeah, the 4 p.m. dust storm that happens every day. Like that is just, I mean, Fayez is going to start talking about how artificial this planet is, and that really leans into that. It's just it's odd.
Yeah, I want to talk about the idea of the planet being constructed, because that's such a clear seed of world building that is just so crazy. And obviously these characters kind of just I guess move past it for the sake of not losing their minds, but unfortunately I didn't have that liberty. It's crazy. Why would someone put random lithium into the ground, random unrefined lithium? I can't wait to find out what the hell is going on with this planet. And now that Holden and, more importantly, Miller are here, maybe we will start to a bit more, but it's so weird. It's such a weird seed to plant. I don't know what it's going to turn into.
Yeah. And I think it plays well off like the human side of the conflict that we're going into, because like something we're sort of having is this sort of like, this is the first world that humanity is going to, and there's been talk of like, oh, is this the template for what the rest of them will look like? But this world's fucking weird. Like it's that sort of every world's going to be unique and different. Like I think it's helping me realize that like the idea of just saying, okay, what happens here should apply to the rest is stupid, because every planet's going to be fucking weird, particularly this one, because who has claim to it when it seems to have been artificially constructed? So like it's definitely the protomolecules, or whoever made that. Like, yeah.
The thing that it made me think is just how pointless, again, in the grand scheme of things, this conflict is, right? Like the whatever, the world they're on the precipice of uncovering more about is a world where aliens can unrefine lithium and put it in the ground, clearly at such a scale that they'd obviously have the ability to, refine lithium and do all these things that like humanity sees currently in its capitalist way as valuable. But like their technology has clearly progressed far enough that getting more of a sniff of this technology it would be enough to like unseat all the capitalist structures that humanity has built its world around. So I'm like, guys, focus on the big issue here, and it will have bigger dividends.
Yeah, and like the other 1300 worlds also covered in lithium. Is lithium actually within the scope of the human empire,
Yeah.
cosmically extremely like we don't
Yeah.
it,
I
it,
guess
it
that is kind of what the charter company is doing here, is starting to explore some of these questions, but because otherwise why would they bring scientists? But
yes, yeah.
yeah, it's
But it's just, yeah, this whole concept of this is the template, I think, is very funny when like Fires has come here as like the geologist, which is like that applies to every rock that we've ever
mm,
seen. Then he's come here and been like, it does not apply to this rock. And it's sort of like, okay, you were the science that is applies to everything, and you don't apply here. And it's like, why are we treating this rock as the template for how humanity's exploration into the stars should go? That's extremely dumb, and I love that.
mm, yeah, yeah.
Um, I also like I really appreciated I did a major in genetics at university, which has been useful exactly 0 times in the life that I've chosen to lead. Um, but I can bump that up to 1 now because it's really fun listening to Elvie babble about
Mm,
like she starts talking about Schrodinger's crystals and like codon maps, and I was like, this is really fun for me as somebody who kind of understands most of these terms. Like it, I guess the closest thing I have to a point here is I love that James S. A. Corey is sharing the nerd love amongst the scientists. Like the Expanse could have just very easily been like at best like a physics nerd, hard sci-fi thing, but like they've found a way to be like giving biologists some love as well. Like like
yeah.
it's I think it's fun that they're leaning into the hard science in a bunch of different scientific fields.
Giving a shout out to the lesser scientific fields, huh?
How dare.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like yeah, because like the codon map thing always did strike me as odd. Like, so the codon map is basically like DNA is in like 3-bit. Well, bit is a bad term because there's four, but like as in
Mm,
there's like a map of like 3 bits of DNA to like an amino acid,
mm,
and it's universal amongst all Earth life, like from the tiniest bacteria to like us. If
mm,
you get the same 3 bits of DNA, it's gonna like our bodies are gonna read that and produce the exact same amino acid.
mm,
Um, and like that always felt like I guess because I was studying computer science alongside it, I was a bit like, so it seems kind of arbitrary how all life decided to map this. And like LV basically explicitly brings that up. She's like, we all use the same codon map, and like that's kind of weird if you think about it. And like now we get
mm,
to see what life is like when it doesn't. And
mm.
so it's like little details like that that I was just like, that is really exciting. Like the
Yeah.
little genetics major in me is like, that's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. Reminds me of how in Project Hail Mary, Ryland Grace is there, brought in because he is an expert in potentially aquatic based life forms, or non aquatic based life forms, and then turns out, no, they just don't exist. Sorry, Ryland. It's just fun stuff. Just fun to consider, like, um, how aliens can be when, yeah,
Yes.
as discussed in here, everything on all life on Earth comes from kind of a common ancestor, right? It's
Yeah. Yeah.
we're not that different, regardless.
Yeah, and I mean that kind of comes into like, so Felsia asks for this letter of recommendation,
Mm.
and Elvie's just like, "Oh, but I haven't seen your work.
Yeah,
I can't
a
weigh in on
crazy
that."
response.
Yeah, and Fires basically calls her out for that. He's like, "Elvie, you fucking weirdo. Like, I made mine up. Like, who cares?"
Yeah.
Um, and like it does feel like that sort of ties into the nature of their two fields. Like again,
Mm.
LV is an exobiologist. Up until extremely recently, she has kind of been living in like this wishy-washy theory universe of like, but what if? Whereas like Fire's geology again, fucking super relevant everywhere, including Mars. Like he gets how I mean, he literally gets how the world works. He does geology. Whereas like Elvis is theoretical, and I feel like there's some fun like character mapping we're doing there. And maybe this is the other verse reader coming into me, but it's like, oh, you're chosen profession reflects how you view the world, sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's crazy that Fires feels like there's not going to be a use for him here. Right? Like, if I was him, it's the finding out the planet has been constructed and we don't understand the mechanisms that can make a perfectly flat mesa or whatever. Like, I'd be like, oh shit. Like, we need to understand how their, tectonic plate machine or whatever it is made this stuff happen. Like, I don't know. It's surely it's more exciting rather than less.
I think because he calls out that like if you're into that kind of engineering, then this is a
Sure,
very
yes,
exciting planet. But
yes.
yeah, like he very specifically just likes to see how nature do, I guess. And like essentially the TLDR of his very short time here is nature did not do this. Like, um, so like yeah, I kind of agree. I'd be like, well, this is a fascinating new machine I need to understand, but we maybe skew a little bit more. I mean, we're software engineers, but it's the
Yeah,
same. Like,
sure,
we
sure.
want to understand how things are put
I
together.
do like puzzles.
Yeah. Whereas he's a geologist, like he's kind of intentionally avoided having to deal too much with that aspect. So he's
he
looking at this like, this isn't what I'm here for. Like,
he's intentionally avoided having an exciting career his whole life.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
No
If we have any,
sciences are safe from me.
if we have any geologists listening, you can
Yeah, you
rethink.
can leave.
Um, but yeah, I think I already like sort of brought this up, but yeah, I do think this is fun. How like yeah, again, like Fires represents the field of like always kind of relevant because from asteroids to Mars to Earth, like geology was important to kind of understand how things are the way they are. And
Mm,
LV picked a fucking useless science, but now they're
mm,
here on Ilus, and Ilus is such a weird place that they've kind of flipped. Like
yeah.
the concept of geology on Ilus is entirely theoretical. Um,
Mm,
at best, Fires might be able to begin to speculate about what the geology was like here before the protomolecule came, if he decides that it
mm,
wasn't entirely constructed by the protomolecule.
yeah.
Whereas like LV is, like the life here exists and she's extremely relevant. I just think that's yeah really funny that the practicality of their two fields has completely inverted on Ilus. Like science applies here in the exact opposite way that it has in our solar system, where like
Mm,
geology useless, exobiology extremely relevant. Like I think that's a fun little I don't know like bit of feed to give us as readers.
mm, yeah. 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 Sorry. Just jumping back to the letter of recommendation thing because I
Yeah.
skipped over a thought, but um, as I was reading this for the first time, this beat of Felsia wanting to leave is becoming more and more prevalent, and you just know it's going to blow up. And we get, the hook for that at the end of one of Barzia's
Yeah.
chapters this week. So it seems like next week we're really going to be dealing with this. I guess we'll talk about it more then, but yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah. I do. It's such a fun plot point as well because it's so like you're right. Like as you're reading it, you're like, oh man, this is going to be what causes so much shit to blow
Well,
up. But
yeah,
like,
this is going to be the seed that makes things go to
yeah,
shit. You can kind of just feel like it's the little thing where they're going to almost get on the same page, and then this thing's going to make Barcia flip out, and then it's going to all fall apart. You can kind of feel it happening.
yeah, and like that's like the book's not even sort of trying to hide it. Like it's dangling in front of you. Like, hey, I'm gonna like set some things up, and then I'm gonna put this here and blow it up. And like because it so clearly doesn't matter. Like in the interplanetary politics, it shouldn't matter where this like what 16-year-old girl wants to try and go to uni, but it's like oh
Yeah.
this is gonna be so important. Like it's such a human thing that it's like
Yes.
it doesn't matter what Holden does. It doesn't matter what Mercury, LV, like Coop or whatever does. What really matters is the decision the 16-year-old's made about where she wants to try and go to uni. Like that's
Yeah.
so funny.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I guess speaking of little decisions having bigger impact than you'd expect, LV sees someone sneaking off into the ancient alien ruins. And as we saw last week, this is not what she's about. She wants scientific rigor. So she
Mm.
kind of chases this person into the ruins, prepared to go like full Karen about it.
Crazy, so crazy.
Yeah.
And I yeah.
Look, basically, she doesn't find the people. She does
Thank
find all of their
God.
explosives.
Yeah.
And uh, realizes what she stumbled onto and goes and tells security about it.
Yeah. God, I mean, yeah, obviously we know this is where the murderers meet, like, sure, and that's gonna kind of color our thoughts, but she's just so like not plugged into reality in this scene, right? Like it's so clear sneaking around at night and confronting somebody because they're lecturing the environment. You know, forgetting about the murderers even. Like the last time she had this thought of lecturing the locals, she knew, she saw how badly it went, right? And she kind of has this thought of like, well, this time if I talk to them one on one, I'll get through to them. It's just like she's just crazy. Yeah. I mean, yeah, she probably assumed it was kids just hanging out or whatever, but still, like, get with the program.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is the thing, right? Like, she's an exobiologist. She doesn't live in the real world.
Yes. Yeah.
She gets the alien life here better than she gets the humans, clearly.
Yes, totally.
But we pretty much immediately then cut to Baja for chapter 9, and he's working nights in the mine to keep his mind from wandering into the guilt he feels for the mass murder he did. But it doesn't work because Coop wanders in anyway. And Coop has figured out that Elvie found them, so they need to go blow up their stash because it's covered in fingerprints and shit. So basically, they all grab their guns and head off in their cart to go and bomb the alien ruins, and nothing more.
Yeah, no, and this is really Barzia's low point. I don't mean when he participates in killing people. I mean this bit where for the first third of this chapter he's like, "Oh, I feel such remorse for killing people." He obsesses over how he could avoid it. Oh, wait, you want me to kill more people? Yeah, sure. It's unavoidable. Like, fuck, man. As I was reading this, I was like, wow, Barzia, dude. And then at the start of this chapter, I'm like, oh, maybe this is enough for remorse for him to turn it around. And then the answer is no. But then, funnily enough, seems like this next set of murders is enough for him to like take a step back. So it's clearly possible. That's the worst bit. It's clearly possible for him to have taken this step back, but he just refuses to do it. Either until these people die or maybe because Coop does. But we'll get to that.
Yeah. And I mean, like, because there's so many extra red flags. Like, I think that's what's really funny is like Coop comes in and he's like, "Yeah, I got like Jacek, your son, to do some work." And Baja, like, there's this internal part of him that's like, "Don't involve my son in this."
But he doesn't say anything.
No,
he doesn't say. He just lets it go.
And it's like we talked about it a bit last week, but like Baja's whole thing is that like he's still traumatized by what happened to Katoa and the guilt he feels for all that. So like it's such like the universe is sending him, James S.A. Corey is sending him such a big red flag.
Yes.
Like Coop is dragging your son into this. This is like your whole thing.
Obviously for Barzia, his kids theoretically are very important to his character. I say theoretically because really it seems like his obsession over Katoa seems very key to his character, and his like refusal to reflect on, well, Felsia obviously is going to play into it, but then his other son, who he just like seems to never think about, like he's like the first time he's mentioned in the text. Is that right? And maybe that's not right, but
no, because he played soccer last week.
Yes,
but like he does seem to be more decorative than Katoa.
Exactly, and I don't see that as a criticism of James S.A. Corey's like writing. I see that as a criticism of Barzia's parenting. Like that's what it feels like to me, especially when he's so obsessed with Katoa, and you're just like, dude, like, what are you doing?
Yeah. You're sleepwalking into repeating this, especially with Coop just admitting that he's dragging Jacek in.
Yeah, and he reflected. I can't remember if it's this chapter or the previous Barzia chapter, but he reflects on like partially feeling responsible and feeling for Katoa because when Katoa went missing, he didn't really do enough to find him, right? Like Prax ended up finding May and finding her alive, and he reflects that maybe that was like because Prax was doing more, right? And he was kind of in this like numb state, and so he's kind of it is like literally the exact same thing. He's in this numb state because Katoa is dead, and he's not doing more, and like you can just see him sliding down and down and down and being like, dude, like, when are you going to learn your lesson?
Yeah. The answer is maybe now.
Yeah, how many kids have to die before you learn your lesson, I guess.
Sorry, I need to call this out because I thought it was so fucking funny. But like another red flag the universe gives him is that the cart they borrowed to go to the mines to do it is the same cart that he had to borrow the night that they did the last explosion. And like even Barzia's in his head, like, come on, universe. It's just,
but again, it's not enough of a signal for him to listen.
But yeah, so basically the gang, like Coop's gang, is all heading out, and they're actually not going to blow up their supply. They're going to kill the RCE security that they know are there. And Bajia kind of realizes that he knew that that's what they were doing, but he just didn't want to think about it. But he's still letting Coop run things, and Coop's still dragging him into mass murders, basically.
Yep. Whoops.
This is where we start to get this hook of like Baja's thinking about Holden is that like Holden is the man who's constantly too late to actually help me.
Yeah.
So like he thinks on how Holden was, too late to help Katoa, which I mean at least he fucking tried, Baja. But like it's the whole framing of Baja is just like he's so clearly stuck in what happened to Katoa. Like you said, it's causing him to sort of fuck up his other kids. Like Jacek only comes into his mind as a comparison to Katoa. He's so stuck on what happened to Katoa that even now as Holden's arriving, he's only thinking of it in terms of, this guy's always just a little too late to save me.
And it's cool, Barzia, that you thinking about someone else coming from off-world to save you and not just like taking actions yourself. That's chill.
Being a responsible adult, yeah,
exactly. Being like, oh well, the guy whose job it is to sort all this out is slightly too late, so I don't need to do anything to change my behavior. Oh yeah. I'm having a very anti-Barzia week. In fact, I think I had this last week too, but we'll see. We'll see where we get to next week.
No, Barzia doesn't do himself any favors this week.
No. I feel bad because all three of our protagonists that aren't Holden in this book so far, I'm really like feeling their shortcomings more. You know what I mean? Like Elvie's kind of, I guess, naivety. It's naivety for Elvie and Barzia, and then Havelock's like Havelock and Barzia both have the same kind of vibe of like, well, bad things are happening, but I'm not really gonna stop them,
Yeah, no, I agree. We've got like a fun collection of idiots, and you know what? I'll include Holden in that.
Sure, but Holden, I mean,
so far,
call it a twist or whatever. Holden does well this week, doesn't he? Like, man,
Holden is batting far above average. But I agree. Like we do, I feel like it's something James S.A. Corey must have set to set down to come in with in this book, because all three of our protagonists have such like ginormous blind spots for like I don't know themselves, how humanity works, like whatever that it's hard not to just immediately get like very hung up on how big those blind spots are and how much they're affecting them, but like that in a way that feels like that's the point. But yeah, like Baja in particular is just like he keeps digging, man. He digs. He does admittedly have a moment where he's like, this is a bad idea. We shouldn't do a second mass murder. Unfortunately, he has that thought as the second mass murder is starting.
Whoops.
So it's kind of too late. But basically, yeah, the colonists quickly and pretty brutally take out the RCE security team.
Yeah.
Baja participates in this, and mentally, I think he's just doing fine.
Yeah. No, it's a very cool way they do this. They do the like time skipping through
Yes.
thing. So we just see like moments from this uh set of murders. And it's a very cool way to like we get the basic plot points. They jump them, they shoot them, they kill them all. While it's still focusing like very much on Barzia's mental state and how he's losing it, I guess.
Yeah.
Um
And I mean,
yeah.
like, I think we saw something similar, like in Caliban's War, Prax in his first firefight kind of had a similar-ish thing where, like, he wasn't skipping in the same way, but like he was skipping a little bit. And I guess it was just different enough because Prax wasn't really a participant in that. Like Prax, from memory, I'm trying to think back to Caliban's War. Prax just kind of slept walked into a firefight and accidentally kick-started it off for Holden and Amos and the gang who ended up having to do all the murders.
Mm.
Um, and like so with Prax, it was more just kind of like he couldn't comprehend what was happening, so he was skipping through time. Whereas Baja is like it's the same but different because Baja has kind of walked into this through his own choices in a different
Mm.
way, and
Mm.
it's like guilt on his end, whereas Prax was just like lack of comprehension.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It is fun that it is the same kind of thing. Yeah, we can't. I mean, you know, Barzia had in his brain the shelter of the defense a little bit that he didn't really know Coop was going to blow up the landing pad as the ship was arriving. Right.
Yeah.
That defense does not apply here. He very clearly did know exactly what was going to
Yes.
happen. And yeah, it's so interesting. It's very human, I guess, that he finally has learned his lesson after 2 mass murders, seemingly. But I guess it's good that he got there. Like, good job, Barzia. Thumbs up.
Better 2 than 3. Um,
Yeah, exactly.
uh, but yeah. Anyway, so all the RCE security team dies, except for the one that they left back at base. Which, speaking of, we cut to chapter 10, Havelock.
Mm.
He's still up aboard the Edward Israel, and he basically Murtry puts him in charge of like being the comforting voice in the ear of like the girl who's been left in base and is like understandably freaking the fuck out that everyone else has been killed.
Mm.
And I think he does like a pretty good job at like keeping her sane
Yeah,
and like under control.
yeah. Havelock, well done. Things with bringing her back down to grounded reality, making her a sandwich, all that stuff,
Yeah.
or
Like, I think
promising her a
he starts talking
sandwich.
about, like, hostage training he did or something and how he's using
Mm.
that, but, like, yeah, he just, I think it's fun because like, Havok is such an interesting character because his whole thing is, like, he's a people person, like, he naturally seems to connect with people,
Yeah.
and we see that exhibited here. I haven't written her name down anywhere, so I've totally forgotten what it is, but, like, he connects with her, and he wouldn't have forgotten her name because he's a people person. Um,
Unlike you.
yeah, but like what's funny is like this is also kind of Havelock's flaw because like as we've seen in these last 2 weeks of stuff, like he just kind of goes along with the vibe of whoever is in charge. And so I think this is funny is Havelock's strength is that he's a people person, but also his weakness is that he just kind of socially blends into whichever environment you put him in. Um,
Yeah.
and that's like really fun that it's both his flaw and strength really like I mean god he made friends with Miller, like that's how charismatic this dude is, right? Like he,
Yeah.
he can make friends with like somebody who has arguably gotten more human since an alien took over his consciousness.
Well, but
um
you know, is that him being charismatic, or is it him being such a chameleon
yeah, such an
and not
inoffensive
having
sponge.
exactly that he just can fit in anywhere, regardless of how politely unpalatable that situation is, right? Like that's familiar, but something that Scantron 93 pointed out in our discussion thread was like, Havelock's job history that we hear last week is just all of the bad corporations in the world, right? Like he's just worked at every single bad corporation that exists. And that's not a coincidence, right? That's because he seems to just be able to sit back and let these things happen around him, as we see this chapter.
Yeah. No, you're right. He's like the ultimate centrist.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
but yeah. Sorry, to jump on like Scantron and your point about like his I mean, that's the other side to this is like I'm talking about how he's so naturally like a people person, just blends in, but also like he has been working security. Like he's like a dude who naturally connects with people, but also his chosen profession is shooting them. So like he's not like it's like he naturally connects with a person, but doesn't really give a shit about people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you're right. It does, and I think it's been easier to put that in the back of your mind because he's been stuck on the ship the whole time. Like we obviously haven't seen him participate actively in the RCE kind of whatever oppression of this
Gestapo.
planet. Yeah, but I don't know. We might get that point sooner or later. It's been very interesting that he's still on the ship. Like,
yeah.
Because obviously, Reeves dies in the shootout with Barzia, and I'm like, oh, okay, a bunch of RCE people have just died. Like, they obviously gonna have to send more people down from the planet. And then I see next chapter is from Havelock's perspective. And I'm like, okay, so what's going to happen is Havelock's going to go down and be either in charge of or just part of the strike team, but he's not. It's a very interesting choice because like the ship isn't really where the story is. So yeah, it's very interesting. Maybe Holden will finally arrest Mercury and be like, let's bring down someone from the ship that's not as connected to him. Havelock, you can be in charge. I don't know. Like, I'm kind of curious when Havelock's going to get actually involved and what will his reaction be at that point? Will he just continue to perpetuate the iron fist of the corporation?
Yeah, like it will well, yeah, will he like actually have his own idea or continue to be
exactly? Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's like we're going to quickly find out because I mean we don't see Havelock again or the ship.
Yeah.
But this chapter essentially ends with him being left in charge of security in the ship.
Yeah.
Like obviously I guess the ship has a captain or whatever, but like it really seems, especially in this scenario, I feel like security is going to be calling the shots.
Kind of martial law vibes. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, I think that's what's interesting is like he, like Havelock, and I think the reason Mercury left Havelock in charge is because Mercury knows Havelock's still going to like conceptually report to him, but Havelock's going to have to make decisions that at least align with what he thinks Mercury would want. So it's fun, kind of putting him actually in charge as a wrinkle to this like dude who just kind of toes the company line regardless of what that company is. But yeah. And I mean, we end the chapter with this, with the Havelock getting a communique from corporate about how to de-escalate the conflict, like as Mercury and Co are heading to the ground, and it's just like, yeah, thanks guys, nailed it.
Yep. Yeah. A fun echo. I mean, we talked about it before, but Barzia and Havelock both just kind of watching as the people that they're kind of second in command to are escalating, and the abstract authority is just too slow to stop it. But, they're both here. They're watching it happen. They could take action. They're just not going to yet.
Yeah. No, you're right. They're both answering to the authority, but just the authority that's immediately in front of them, and both being like, oh, why isn't the big authority helping?
Yes.
I feel like we're watching like the limits of human conception of like because like it's humans kind of suck at a lot of abstract thought, really.
Yeah.
And both of these guys are like, oh, I'd love for actual law to matter, but it doesn't, so I guess I'll do whatever Coop and Mercury or whatever want.
Yeah, it's very much the kind of just following orders defense manifesting in real time, right?
But yeah, speaking of grand cosmic authorities, chapter 11. we're in Holden's perspective. The Rocinante arrives at Ilus, or like in orbit around Ilus. And yeah, Amos and Holden gearing up, they're heading down to land. And then Alex and Naomi, I guess, are staying on the ship for now. Or in Naomi's, we'll get into the Naomi stuff later. But for starters, let's just talk about when they arrive. Alex just immediately starts shit stirring both other ships in orbit. He's like, I gotta let people know there's a new sheriff in town, so I'm gonna like target everyone with my fucking lasers and shit.
Yeah.
And then like simultaneously, Amos is trying to bring down a whole fucking armory to go to war on the surface, and it's just like, oh. Especially knowing how things go in the next chapter, maybe Holden is a good mediator. It's just the rest of his crew that are absolutely dog shit.
Well, I kind of had this thought of like, this is a bit of a funny beat of a joke when they do first get here. But given how the rest of the chapters go, like them just kind of demonstrating, hey, we do have the biggest guns. Like, just in case you care about that, we've got the biggest guns. It's not the worst thing in the world.
No, I really did see Alex's logic. Like, I think coming in with your dick swinging and being like, hey, we can kill everyone if we want.
Yes.
It's keeping people on edge, but like, given that these guys are already shooting each other, it is not a bad way to sort of be like, okay, no more of this. Like, I'm in charge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, sorry, this is just a little aside, but I always really love the beats where we kind of learn how close the crew of the road, like, because they've traveled together in space for years, like they're shipmates, and I guess I love when the line between family and shipmates blurs, and so like part of what happens here is Holden comes and finds like Amos building an armory, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And Amos is like, "You told me to pack."
Yeah.
And Holden's like, I just meant like our underwear and stuff. And it's just very funny to me that I guess when you live with like, I don't think he and Naomi are married, but like, your long-term partner, and also like a random dude, that somehow it's the random dude's job to pack your underwear. Like, these guys are they're so close.
Yeah. Yeah, they're close. Whatever. It's probably fine. They've been literally like stuck in a tin can with him for years. So I think it's
I could still see myself not being willing to like,
yeah, but you have a thing about sharing laundry, Elliot.
I mean, yeah, I guess, and yeah, maybe that's just particularly in my head right now because I've obviously just started living like with people who now like I have to share out laundry chores, and I'm coming to terms with that, and it's fine.
Yeah, and how's that growth been going for you? That specifically on sharing laundry, it's been going well.
I'm coping.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
Luckily, there's like a million other problems, so it's easy to just not focus.
Yeah.
But yeah, it also just like raises questions for me. I'm like, do you think they ever have to share underwear? Like, because like space on a ship like this is pretty tight, right? Like you don't want you like. I just assume the Rocinante doesn't have the fuel economy for them to have too many like personal possessions, I guess. So like, do you think if like Amos and Holden are the same size, do you think they sometimes just trade underwear if one of them's behind on laundry or something? Like, these are the questions we need James S. A. Corey to answer.
Are they? It kind of occurs to me, I'd been, sometimes you're recording a podcast and you realize you've been a little quiet and you're like, wait, do I have anything to say on this? And you know what? I don't. Let's just move on.
Okay. Okay. Like, maybe I'm overcorrecting as I'm learning to share laundry, but like, you may as well just share your underwear.
Yeah.
Like if somebody else is allowed to pack your underwear, you may as well just wear each other's. Is kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, sure, that's fair.
Anyway, but yeah, so our party splits up, and we follow Holden and Amos, our two Earthers, hilariously, as they head down to Ilus, and they land in their shuttle, and Holden is a little disappointed to see that there's no like welcoming the first interplanetary mediator sort of vibes. It's just kind of there's just no one there.
Yeah. Yep. No red carpet reception. Sorry, Holden.
I also like. I guess. I mean, yeah, I'm getting into spoilers, but obviously we see that there kind of would have been if he'd made it here on time. But yeah, I do think it's fun. So we obviously get that Naomi and Alex are staying on the ship. And in Naomi's case, it seems like a little bit more necessary because, like, she basically didn't want to go through the grueling months and months of like hormones and physical stuff to be able to survive at 1G for like one job, and that does make sense. Um, Alex though is interesting because he's kind of in the middle. Like, I think as a Martian, like he it would have been less rigorous for him to do it, but like I guess he just really likes being a pilot and just wants to stay with the ship. I don't know, like, but it's interesting that like for Naomi, it wasn't an option.
No, I think that's interesting too, and it puts me in mind of what I just said about Havelock. Of like, okay, a few key cast members are just staying up on the ship, and I'm like now trying to think of what the plot developments might be where the ships become relevant, and we've got to be like have some kind of standoff between Havelock and Naomi or whatever. But I don't know. Maybe it's just we want more focused narrative on planet of just some people killing each other.
Yeah. Oh, well, and yeah, exactly. That's why it's Amos who came down. No, and the others will get a turn. Like next book, Amos is going to have to stay down here, and we'll follow Holden and Naomi on the ship or something. But yeah. There's a lot of fun little things, I guess, as Holden and Amos experience their first alien world as well. Like, I love they get basically surrounded by a cloud of biting insects who start trying to drink their blood, and then everyone who bites them immediately dies, so the rest just leave. And it's just a funny alien interaction moment. Because like I'd be so worried that they injected me with something that was going to kill me. Holden doesn't seem to give a shit. But it also made me immediately think like, oh, he's already made enemies with Elvie. Like, first thing they did when they got here was kill a bunch of native wildlife.
Yeah, true.
And then yeah, I don't know. We also get some insight into Holden, the old human romantic, where he rocks up to first landing and sees that a bunch of the houses are made by mud brick, and he's like, it's just so delightfully human that we traveled to another solar system using wormhole gates, got here, and still decided the best thing for houses was just some mud.
You make do with what you can. It's classic human settlement. Yeah.
But he's kind of right that like it is just like, no, like humans, like
yeah.
Like, we'll go to another solar system in tin cans over 18 months and then just use some mud because mud fucking works. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, anyway, Holden and Amos make it to first landing, and it's just a bit of a mess. Mercury is here, basically trying to become the sheriff. Coop is riling up the crowd, and just rightfully pointing out that Mercury is making threats, but not really helping de-escalate at all. And anyway, Mercury follows through on one of his threats and just shoots Coop in the face.
Yep, and this is obviously presented as an escalation, but all I could think about during this was like, yeah, you know what? Coop deserved it. Like,
it's funny because I think from Mercury's point of view, this is worse than it is. Does that make sense? Like we know enough about Coop to be like, oh, this is probably helpful actually.
Yes, this is actually a good thing. And it's funny because
if you were going to kill one rando in cold blood, Coop is a hole in one choice. Like,
yes.
he was here, he was riling up the crowd, and maybe that's Mercury kind of pegged out or whatever. But knowing what we know from Baj's perspective, it's just like, oh, Coop is a great choice. Like,
yeah. And that does, like, it's obviously very intentionally undercuts the badness of it so actively, right? It reminds me of like in a book you get a protagonist who's kind of sometimes morally grey, but the way that their moral greyness manifests is they end up killing people who turns out were baddies all along, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's like half step towards making a character morally grey, where they take actions that theoretically are bad, but are proven by their narrative to retrospectively have actually been correct. Right.
Yes.
And that's like the exact vibe of this beat. And so I'm just kind of like, does the book want me to dislike Mercury? And if so, it's so interesting to have him be correct about this. I don't know. Yeah. I feel bad that I'm so corpo brained, but yeah.
No, I mean, yeah, it's fascinating because you're right. It's like, okay, like I see it, but then also, yeah, God, like shooting Coop, it's hard not to see how that's not going to be helpful. Like, he was pretty directly responsible for all the murders that have happened thus far. So,
yeah,
like, yeah, it's fucking hilarious that it's like, okay, I could see why to like Holden and stuff, this is a really bad escalation. But God, with the rest of the context, you're like, hey, Mercury kind of had a point.
Yeah, and it's also like, again, he's not a POV character, so he is external to us, and therefore we're kind of seeing things through whatever an external eye, and that makes it a bit worse. But also, like, if it was Holden and his people are being actively murdered, I can see him doing this, or maybe the version of him from kind of books 2 and 3 where he's fallen off the wagon a bit. But like, yeah, he's kind of defending his people a bit, and that's like, 20 people have been murdered so far, or whatever it is. Like, martial law kind of is warranted. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we'll get into this more because I think we start to see some of those book 1 Holden echoes when we start seeing him as the mediator. Because like I agree. Like book 1 Holden was like this was a whole thing between him and Miller, right? It's like you can't just
exactly. You can't just
kill people without a trial,
even though they're baddies. Yeah.
And like I guess we saw Holden grow in that regard in the first trilogy, and Cibola Burn is kind of immediately throwing him to the deep end with like, you're so far away from that whole court system, its relevance is extremely arguable, and like, which is the Holden or the Miller side of you going to win here?
But the other difference is he is kind of explicitly here as the law, though, right? And that's what gives it an interesting wrinkle. Is I was kind of like, wait, Holden, are you being a hypocrite because your response to Miller was you can't get on my ship? It wasn't I'm going to arrest you. But then he wasn't there as the lawman, whereas he kind of is that here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like it's a
very interesting.
This is a fun arc to throw at Holden after the last 3 books of growth. Like he started as this naive, like everyone needs a trial, trust the system, to like being kind of pro-violence for a bit, to now it's like, okay, now you are the system, figure out how to interact with people, like walk the walk now. And I mean his first attempt at that is Mercury kind of has a chat with him. I think they go to like the bar because of course First Landing has a bar, and so of course they're already like having meetings there. And yeah, Mercury and Holden are talking for a bit, and it I don't know, it doesn't really go anywhere, to be honest, until Amos steps in, and Amos seems to be more on a level with Mercury, or at least Amos thinks so. And yeah, like I don't know, this doesn't go well, I guess, as far as conversation between a mediator and an individual.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It like I think it's really interesting that Amos basically has Mercury pegged as like a guy who wants violence to happen, like he wants the excuse to be a mass murderer.
Yes, and I think that's the thing that is going to make me leave the Team Mercury train at some point. But I'm on there for now.
Yeah. And Amos is a little bit biased, I guess, but yeah. No, it is like, because I guess we were just talking about how Coop being out of the picture is helpful, but Amos certainly sits down in front of this man and goes, "Oh, you're the same can of worms."
Yeah.
But anyway, let's leave these human troubles in the past for a bit and do an interlude from the investigator's perspective. So yeah, it reaches out 113 times a second. It reaches out, and now that Holden is on Ilus, it reaches out to Ilus.
Yay! Yeah. On one hand, I was kind of expecting, as soon as Holden arrived, Miller to be like, "Oh shit, these ruins are like an alien beacon or whatever, like something more
Yeah.
active." And obviously, that's not the case. But yeah, it's interesting. I can't wait to find out more about Ilus from Miller's perspective. We do a little bit towards the end of these chapters, and the teasers we get are so exciting.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But like just sticking with this again, I continue to love the xenofiction of like this unaware algorithm that has just insisted conscious beings inside of it. And, we're talking a lot about how capitalism is affecting Ilus, and there's a metaphor there. But I think it's really fun from a writing perspective because it lets the authors like have their cake and eat it too. Like we get to get the human responses to what the proto molecule is experiencing because it has these humans that it's just kind of bringing around to use as like reaction modules. But then like we constantly get reminders like, but it's not conscious. It's effectively just working as an algorithm and just using them to direct stuff.
Mm.
Which I hadn't thought of the capitalism metaphor until just now, but like fuck, that's funny.
Mm. Yeah. The thing that's interesting to me about this perspective is more and more of Miller is like bleeding in, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I felt like the first investigator chapter we got, the parts where it was quoting the humans in its brain were kind of quote marked, whereas this one, we get like Millerisms, right? We get like it thinks like doors and corners and like this could get ugly, kid, and like all these like Millerisms sneak into its
Yeah.
train of
Yeah.
thought in a way that makes me think it's becoming more and more like the people that are its component parts, which I think is fun.
Yeah, well, I mean, we touched on last week, right? Like we had it got directly compared to Ariel,
Yes.
who was the anti Caliban or whatever. So like,
Yeah.
yeah, no, like I think that's definitely being seeded in a fun way.
Yeah, which is very exciting because it
Yeah.
means Miller, real Miller, is coming back.
And some like Julie's in there too,
Mm. Yeah, true.
But yeah, I also I want to call out one thing the protomolecule frames itself as in this chapter as well is just like a selective pressure. Like
Mm.
it's not an algorithm. It's basically a thingy that's designed to act as an evolutionary force by like selectively pressuring things around it to conform to like its directive or whatever.
Mm.
And like this is like a cool way to think about it, but it's also like in a book where Elvy's one of our POVs and we're doing a lot of exobiology shit and discussing the nature of evolution, looking at our first like non-Earth like life tree of life. It's very fun to also tie the protomolecule into like the concept of like how it shapes evolution.
Mm.
Um, like LV is here trying to look at the selective pressures and how those have impacted a whole new tree of life, and then we've got this other character sitting here being like, "I am one too."
Yeah. Yeah, and maybe that will be Elvy's grander purpose in this narrative to really start to understand the biological systems in play for the protomolecule. I could see that.
Mm, yeah. Um, but I guess we'll have to see. Well, actually, no, Elvy's got a
No,
chapter
she's got
coming right
another.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's cut back to Baja for a bit though, with chapter 12. And yeah, this is where like Mertry and his goons are sort of arriving. We're jumping back in time a bit. What's funny is Baja and all the other people think it's Holden.
Mm.
So they get the welcome that Holden was expecting, which I just think is very funny.
Yep.
But yeah, then the doors open, it's Mertry and his goons, and Baja thinks to himself, of course, Holden is too late again.
Yeah, this is a fun little way of showing us the start of the martial law here and giving us the townies' perspective on it.
Yeah.
You're right. It's very cute that there is the actual welcome that Holden wanted here, and it was just wasted on Mertry.
Yeah. Anyway, Holden so Baja has a quick chat with Lucia after Mercury comes and instills martial law, and Baja heads to a meeting of the OPA or whatever we're calling themselves.
Yeah.
And he is basically at this point now the voice of let's not escalate. Let's just let Holden do his job. He's going to be biased towards us because, like, for being an unbiased mediator, everyone knows he fucking loves belters.
Mm.
And victims. So like let's just play that role.
Yeah. Um yeah. It's a good call though. I mean it's like it feels a bit grimy, but he's right. Holden will be on their
Yeah.
side because of this violence. Like it's a good chance to try and resolve things non-violently and not get the mediator against them again.
Yeah. I also think like what's funny about it is it's like kind of undeniably the best move for the cell.
Yes.
It's also exactly what Havelock kind of racistly said they'd do last
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
Like Havelock had his racist thing where he's like, Belters, they play the victim. And then Barzia does basically sit down here and be like, hey guys, like I know, but like if we just play the victims, it's gonna work so good.
Mm.
And yeah, I there's something very funny about that. And I guess it's also our spoilers that we know like Mercury knows they're gonna try something like that because Havelock dobbed on them. But um yeah, like I don't know, there's something funny about Barzia's way of de-escalating, basically also playing into like bad stereotypes, but in a way where it's like, oh, it still is the best thing to do. Like,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah. It it is quite funny. I like how it also lines up quite nicely with Barzia. His decision to de-escalate, he's now kind of got an excuse to justify it that is
Yeah, yeah.
tactical. So it's kind of convenient that it's playing into really everyone's picture. It's a very nice, convenient solution for everyone
Yeah,
involved, I think.
yeah. It's just a good idea anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then after kind of convincing them to give this a try, and he's also Bazia, like because of the Katoa link to Holden, he's gonna talk to Holden and play up the sympathy card. And I can't wait to talk about his attempt at that in a little bit. But he basically is then sneaking home and
Mm.
gets startled because he's not the only one sneaking home. Um, Felsia is also sneaking back into the house, and Bazia's basically like, please tell me you were like doing irresponsible things with boys and I have to be worried about you being pregnant.
Mm.
And Felsia's like, nah, sorry. I'm going to university back in the solar system. Um, and yeah,
And he
Bazia
starts
does
to
not,
crack it.
yeah, he does not take to this well. He was the good guy for almost half a chapter, and that was too much. He cracks down on Felsia and yeah, goes a bit nuclear about it.
Yeah, we don't really see him fully going nuclear though. We see that he's about to, and then the chapter ends.
Yeah.
So I am interested to see what the actual fallout of this is going to be because we do see Barzia again, and he hasn't yet cracked the shit in a way that we've seen, even from Holden's
Mm.
perspective. So I don't know. It's like I still have hope that he's not going to be completely lost, but not that much hope.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, that is where we end things with him this week, and we jump back into Elvie's head. And
Mm.
so yeah, Elvie's been camped out in the security office since all the murders were happening. Um, and she has like a debrief with Mercury, where there's a really funny interaction where he's trying to get her to better remember who she saw, and like the scientist in her is like, "That's not how memory like works. Like, I'm just going to create a false image if we do this," but also she doesn't want to disappoint him, so she tries. Um,
Mm.
but anyway, Mercury comes in, he's laying down martial law. LV leaves the security office, and she's like, I think things are finally turning around here on New Terra.
Mm.
We've got police, we've got a super famous and super masculine new mediator who's in
Yep.
charge of these parts. Like, everything is coming up.
It's all
Uh,
going great.
yeah, yeah. She really is living on another planet.
Yeah, and she kind of has this thought of like, yeah, she'd kind of been able to forget that some of the townies were murderers before,
Yeah.
and that facade has obviously fallen away. But she still, don't worry, Elvie, you still got a few facades left to crack.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, like, this is fun, right? Because this story is already delving into a lot, like, the nature of, like, law and order, like, where it's there's been a lot of direct ties to the concept of the Wild West and how, like, in early America and stuff, when you're too far away from the major cogs of law, it's it a little bit forces you to recognize how much, like, the entire legal system is just kind of we all agreed to make it up.
Mm.
Um, and it doesn't really apply in these outskirt areas as much. Um, and I think what's funny is like that's a very human and interesting like theme, but it ties interestingly into LV stuff because like she's here to directly kind of question what law and order has been applying to the concept of life. Like she's almost
Mm.
coming at this exact same problem of like does law apply, but she's not thinking about like human law in a sensible way. She's thinking about like using this to learn what selective pressures look like on other organisms. Um,
Mm.
and like there's an interesting reflection there. I think in the yeah like LV just is kind of completely like detached from this human angle of the fact that law doesn't really exist here yet, because she's too busy focusing on scientific laws. I don't know.
Mm.
It's weird. It's an interesting thread. I can't wait to see where it goes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah. I feel Elvie's role as a biologist is like placing her outside of this conflict in an interesting way. And I kind of I don't know, I'm worried that the protomolecule is going to become more of an issue, I guess, as part of her being here. But I don't know how yet, right? Like maybe an alien virus comes out of the ruins to infect everybody. But I kind of want to focus on the fact that this conflict is somewhat unresolvable, which then leaves
Yeah.
Elvie without like that much of a place. Although I guess she is there to represent the ideal vision for what the corp coming here can be, while Mercury is there to represent the the bad reality of it.
Yeah. No, I think the point I was trying to trying to conceptualize was what's funny is like Elvie's literally here to kind of study how totally alien, non-human life functions,
Hmm.
but she's kind of unwilling to do that in an environment that she's not familiar with, which is
Yeah.
like a weird paradox. Wait, like so she's like comforted by Mercury's like fascist takeover
Hmm.
of this place. Like he's entered a fascist, probably not the right word, but like this totalitarian, like he's enacting a police state. And she's like, oh, good. Now things will be familiar enough that I can get to my work of understanding this completely alien. Like there's this obsession with like existing in a standard, like Western human box as she
Hmm.
explores alien life. Like there's an unwillingness to, I guess, take the step in her own life to be like interacting with alien concepts
Hmm.
outside of biology, and I think that's like a really fun thing for her character to be so obsessed with like the rule of law and the way human society should work when ostensibly her job is to like investigate the exact opposite.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and I guess like speaking of, this is where LV meets Holden and is sort of like, okay, cool, we need to talk about the resource issue. No, I'm not talking about like the normal resource issue everyone else is talking about. I'm talking about the fact that like we don't know how our different biospheres will interact long term
Hmm.
yet. Um, we don't know how DNA interacts with whatever the fuck the aliens are doing instead of DNA. We need to be more careful because it's only a matter of time before one of us realizes that the other is a great source of potential nutrients and stuff. I think she uses the term mining. Like it's not
Yeah.
going to be a virus. Like one of us is going to start mining the other one. Like we're not just here for the lithium.
Yeah,
Um,
it's her putting it in terms that everyone can understand. Very funny.
but yeah, unfortunately, Holden, by necessity, has to prioritize the interhuman violence before he can worry about aliens potentially mining us for fuel.
Yeah, which is again kind of the theme of this book, right? This
Yeah,
series.
the series, yeah. Like
Yeah.
it does directly make me think back to Caliban's War, where like we constantly had Avasarala being like, I really just want to focus on the protomolecular alien threat that is
Yeah.
happening on Venus, but I can't because these Dick Fox, Aaron Wright, and Mao
Yeah.
keep like starting human shit that like I have to prioritize first. Otherwise, even if I fix the protomolecule problem, they win.
And I guess that's why Avasarala sent Holden here, so she could focus on what she really wanted to.
Yeah, but it's like it's the same problem where it's like there is all this alien shit going on, but it's like, well, we can't deal with it until like people stop killing each other. Like, that just is, yeah, it's such a funny problem to have because it's like, guys, we really should be focusing on the alien problem, but we can't because there's no space because humans are idiots. It's great.
Yeah.
I'm also really glad we're getting more Amos time.
Mm.
Like obviously we just came from his like
His
backstory
story.
novella.
Yeah.
But like also he's now like half of our OC crew on this planet. But there's just this bit where like he comes into Holden. He's like, hey, there's like another mess of legal crap that the UN has sent you. And Holden's like, am I supposed to read it? And Amos is like, I mean, I don't see how they can make you. I just thought you'd want to ignore it intentionally. And I'm just like, fuck. I'm so glad that like Amos is really shaping up to be more and more of a character. Like he was kind of our aggressive jokester in the previous books, but it feels like it's been elevated now that we've had a novella focusing on his backstory.
Yeah. Yeah. It's added depth to a lot of his interactions.
Yes.
You mentioned a few chapters ago how Amos identifies Mercury as like someone who just wants to do killing, and I'm like, it's you trust his expertise on this kind of stuff more.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Like we've seen the environment he grew up in. I am willing to give him the benefit of the doubt on making those calls.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then for our final chapter this week, we're jumping into Holden's head, and it is the first official arbitration meeting of the rights to New Terra or Ilus, or I mean, we can't even decide what to call this place. So that's how well this is going.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's obviously a very fun little metaphor for this whole debacle. Like they really can't agree on the name.
It sets it up as it going pretty poorly at the start, right? But then it actually goes well.
This goes weirdly well. Yeah, so
well done, Holden.
Yeah, Holden reaches like a pretty reasonable compromise where I think both parties are like equally unhappy but also get what they want, which is like mediation 101, right?
Yeah.
Like everyone should be equally unhappy. And yeah, like that, like so Mercury gets to control the access to the explosives, but the mine is allowed to keep going.
Keep mining, keep loading, yeah.
Yeah, and we agree to a no more killing people rule that's going to be prisoners from now on.
Yeah.
So yeah, like honestly, I got to the end of this meeting and I was like, that went really well.
It's a good start, isn't it? It is kind of worth noting most of the solutions are just like delay the problems, but
yeah,
that's fine for the townies,
that's what we needed.
Right? Yeah, and if you're a townie, your best solution is to keep delaying the problem where they've been here long enough to get more validity, right? Like being here a few months probably isn't enough, but if they've been here for like a few years and they're having kids and kind of all this stuff is happening, life is happening, then it's going to be a lot harder to uproot them. So it's probably a good solution.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like it does just kind of check all the boxes where like at the end of the day, kind of everybody does want that rule of law of the solar system to eventually make its way out here. They're just trying to control the narrative, but like they both need to survive long enough for that rule of law to actually get out here, and this lets them both do that. But yeah, and I guess we've already talked about this a little bit, but I do think it's fascinating to see Book One Holden reemerge in this sort of asking everyone to have a blind faith in the system and the courts.
Yeah.
But coming much more from a place of like, that is actually his job now. Like he in Book One, he was broadcasting shit to whoever would listen and be like, it's fine, guys, we'll just trust the courts will take care of it. And they did not.
Mm.
Whereas like now, yeah, he's kind of got this chance to walk the walk in that regard, and I think this is such a fun challenge to put in front of him. It's like, okay, like, can you hold shit together long enough for this system to actually work? With the backing of now, he's been sent here by the system, and I think his trust of it because of that is at an all-time low. Like he's like, they're sending me as a mediator. This
Mm.
system's broken, man.
Yeah. 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 Um, he's. I don't know. I can't be too upset with Holden. It just shows how much growth he's had that this goes well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, and yeah, I mean, I guess we should just like because yeah, there's not really much to talk about here. It goes well. Um, I think one of the biggest wrinkles in it is Murtry calls him a detective at one point, and Holden like has a mini freak out because detective is now like a trigger word for him.
Mm.
Um, and that's just extremely understandable and funny.
Yeah, as soon as someone mentions a detective, he's like rapidly looking over his shoulder. It's very funny.
Um, but yeah, so this is where Holden and Amos have a really fun discussion about metaphors. Um, and Holden leaves this to go and talk to his imaginary friend. Again, it's still very funny to me that Miller is now the person who is like not really there, but has conversations with people in their head.
Mm.
Considering that was like his whole thing.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, anyway, point is Miller doesn't actually really help. They mostly just have a conversation where Miller is like, "Hey, just a reminder, we're in a fucking graveyard. There was a civilization here you can't even begin to comprehend, and they got killed by something that they couldn't even comprehend. So,
Yeah.
like, you're dealing with two orders of magnitude of cosmic horror here, and you guys are fighting over lithium. So, like, fucking great. Like, good luck to you."
Yeah. Um, it's very terrifying. The fact that I don't know. The fact that there's like weapons left around for people to stumble across and like all these horrible potential problems that can really just accelerate humans killing each other here. It's just like not to mention the fact that there could be something else that had wiped out the aliens here that we don't know about.
Yeah.
Yeah, spooky stuff.
No, so yeah, you're 100% right. The fact that one of these wrinkles is somewhere out here is like potentially like I think he calls out like an orbital weapon or something.
Mm.
And it's just like, yeah, okay, great. That'll be a fun extra addition to this powder keg.
Yeah, yeah.
Um And yeah, anyway, we round off our last Holden chapter this week with him returning to town, and this is where Baja steps in for this chat where he's going to get Holden on side by playing the sympathy card. And I really wish we'd seen this from Baja's perspective because I don't know what the fuck he was thinking if that was the plan. Because from Holden's perspective, this mad lad just comes up to him, basically says a bunch of sus shit, and then leaves. And Holden is just immediately like, "That guy did the bombing." Like,
Mm.
it does the opposite of get the sympathy card. It's a truly shocking own goal. Um,
Yeah.
it's fucking funny.
it's it's very funny how quickly Holden pegs him as part of the resistance. Like so much so that I'm like, oh, Miller really has infected this fucker. It's it's a real fumble by Basia.
It's just like because we like literally we know Barja's like whole thing is he's come here and he's like, I'm gonna play the sympathy card and this is gonna
Yes.
go great. And then we watch it from Holden's perspective and it's like, what fucking sympathy card? Like,
Yeah.
like, and we know Holden that sympathy card is right there to be played.
Yeah. He really fumbles it.
Yeah, it's just a shocking,
Uh,
yeah, shocking attempt.
yeah.
Like I'm part of me's kind of hoping chapter like 15 next week is just Barsh's perspective where we can see the same conversation because I just need to know what was going through his internal monologue as he did because it was yeah. Um
Yeah.
Leaving him from a conversation of I'll play the sympathy card to seeing this, it's just like something must have happened. I guess we saw the Felsia stuff happen. Maybe that threw him off kilter, but
Mm.
yeah. Anyway, Holden doesn't really get time to dwell on the Basia of it all because he gets a radio call from Naomi, who's like, "Hey, just a heads up, something's happening.
Mm.
There's movement."
Yeah, and a huge energy spike. That's the bit that worries me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's our cliffhanger that the schedule has left us with.
Yeah. Whew. It's a good place to stop for the week. It's terrifying, terrifying little hint at what's going to happen next. Well,
But yeah, I guess as we await for that, should we get into our discussion question that we have accidentally had running for 2 weeks because I caused this episode to be a week late. Sorry, everyone.
yeah. Oops. Oh well. The question as worded was, how long do a population need to live in a place before they actually have an entitlement over it? Which is, I think, a bit tongue in cheek. Really, just give us your thoughts on who's right in this conflict. Was the question. We got a lot of interesting responses. Yeah, I mean, uh, obviously, this conflict is kind of set up to have no clear and easy solution, right? Except 40i2 thinks there is a clear and easy solution, which is the planet's big enough to just split it up. And I think that's fair.
Yeah, there's sort of like a whole energy here of this town ain't big enough for the two of us. And it's like, yeah, that's true, but there's a whole fucking planet.
There's other places you could build a town.
Yeah, this town is tiny. That's true. I will say, because the shuttle got blown up and had a lot of RCE supplies,
yes,
it does sound like
change the
like if RCE hadn't lost all their supplies in the shuttle explosion, I think it would have been easier to say just go somewhere else. But now everyone kind of needs to stick together from a survival standpoint.
Yeah. The other bit is they needed to pay the townies to build the landing pad originally, right? So obviously they had to kind of they were going to have to come down here at least a bit. But you're right. They could have split it up a bit more, I reckon.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like it was set up that the paying the townies to build the landing pad thing was like a hastening thing. Like they could have set up in orbit, sent some of their smaller shuttles that they're using now down to build the landing pad somewhere else on the planet. Like but they realized it would be quicker and more efficient and make the shareholders happier if they just got the townies to do it.
Yeah.
So like that wasn't necessary. Like if they'd wanted to shut up shop on the other end of the planet, they could have. It just would have been a little less efficient. Which is, obviously unacceptable.
Yeah.
But yeah. I guess like to go back to like 40i2's answer, to the discussion question, like they sort of bring up that any claim to any land is essentially just social convention. Like it's only worth as much as other people are willing to listen. Which is obviously like the whole point of this story. But 40i2 brought up this really interesting point, which is like they were talking about where they hope the trilogy is going, and they essentially had this whole thing about how like Belters and to a lesser extent Mars like don't make as much sense now, because there's 1,000 planets, and basically like 40i2 brought up the concept of like maybe part of the reason Fred is less willing to side with the Illusians or the people of Ilus is because he sees they're not going to be Belters for much longer. Like they're trying to set up shop on a planet. Like their kids are not going to have Belter physiques, presumably. Like it's an interesting thing in like what does being a Belter even like is. And I mean, I guess Havelock and Murtry kind of brought this up last week, and we kind of slept on it. But like what is a Belter in a place where there are 1,000 worlds? Like, because like Belters have been half defined by living in space and half defined by being oppressed by Earth governments
and the scarcity of like what they have as a result of where they live. Yeah,
and like some of that's going to be like so like Belters as a faction, like there's always going to be oppressed people as long as nothing drastically changes. So like, but like are they still going to be Belters, or is it going to be like a new form of oppressed underclass? Like I think that's a really interesting point, and like that maybe is something Fred's thinking about a little more. Is like, what does the concept of Belter look like if people like the Illusions can settle down and basically become inhabitants of a new planet?
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, it's very interesting. I think and we've struggled with this when we're trying to describe the townies resistance cell, right? Like OPA
Yeah,
is the closest thing we can call them, but that's not really correct because
no.
yeah, it's very
I mean,
interesting.
arguably as a label, it's more correct than ever because they are now definitely an outer planet.
Yeah, it's
But
true.
yeah, but like yeah, like I guess like 4002 brings up a really interesting point, which is um at the center we're kind of deciding exactly what it like yeah, yeah, all this the concept of these thousand planets kind of completely throws off the balance between Earthers and Belters potentially.
Mm.
Um and that's fascinating for what it means for the concept of what it is to be a Belter. And like we're seeing a lot of that with Barzier and Felsier, and we were seeing it with Coop. Like Coop was not really willing to let go of the old ways, and that didn't work out for him. But yeah, so yeah,
Yeah,
I love this concept of making us think a bit about what this means for the Belters as an identity.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it is really interesting to see whether they're going to maintain the, I don't know, yeah, Belter identity. Another beat from these chapters is Naomi couldn't go to this planet.
Yeah, yeah.
um, so, like, clearly they're different. They're like, there are tangible differences that are worth noting.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, any kids of illusions are not like they like
They're
people
not
like Baja had to
Belters.
go
Yeah.
through months of agoraphobia treatment and hormones and
Yeah,
shit,
yeah,
and
yeah.
like they were able to make it work. But like their kids won't have to. Their kids are just gonna presumably be effectively Earthers, like
Yeah,
biologically speaking.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, something Havelock said in last week's chapters was the only thing that's really tying Belters together as an identity is that they just fucking hate inners. Like
Mm,
they're a pretty diverse group. What unites the concept of Belters is that they just fucking hate the rest of us.
yeah.
Um, and if we're messing with that, like yeah, if we're taking away some of that, like yeah, like I don't know, it's interesting.
Mm, yeah. Yeah.
But I guess getting back to the discussion question.
Yeah.
um, Propaganda Pagoda had made some like straight up comparisons to like the taxation without representation debacle that kicked off the US's war, like Revolutionary War, which I think like the book has made some allusions to as well. And like it's just like a really good point is like Propaganda points out the landing pad at First Landing was built by the Illusions. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
start calling them that because I really like the
Yeah,
mouthfeel
it's
of it.
good. Yeah, it's nice.
Um, but like it's just like a kind of extension of like the Belters' disenfranchisement of like asking them to build the platform that they're going to use to take their planet from them. like it really does harken back to the way colonies were treated in the era of expansion.
Mm, yeah. 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 It adds such a, there's so many weird complexities to this
Yeah.
discussion. And I think that's what makes it feel so real, right? Is because there are so many little nuanced bits and pieces that add a real human messy layer over it.
Yeah, like I mean, we're obviously. I am very intentionally ignoring the elephant in the room of like one of these ships is called the Israel,
Mm,
um, and when you're talking colonial land rights and real messy situations, that's one that I think is best if we just don't litigate on this podcast because we're not the people to do that. But yeah, like what's really fun about Ilus slash New Terra is it's just fucking messy.
mm,
Like who gives the UN rights, but then also like these guys just like Coop just opened the gate with murder, and so like that kind of weakens their position in my head a lot. Like it's yeah.
mm, yeah.
I think like UFO tofu in their discussion question also brought up that like we kind of slept on the fact this company is literally called Royal Charter Energy, which just feels like it's space for like the East India Trade Company.
Yes, for sure. It's a great
Like
point.
yeah, calling it Royal Charter is definitely really leaning into this whole era of expansion colonialism vibe that the book is going with. And that's a
Yeah.
great call out.
No, it is fun. It really lends another beat to this Wild West kind of setting that
Yes.
this book seems to have landed in, right?
Yeah,
Which
yeah,
is fun.
absolutely.
The other one we got was from Shardik the Bear, talking about uh, just how long this planet has been here before humanity got here, 6 months ago. And I think
Yeah.
that's a great point and will probably become more relevant as the ruins / proto-molecule become more active in this book. Just like reminding us, hey, this is a very silly human conflict, and actually you're in their territory now. Like there's bigger things to worry
Yeah.
about.
No, exactly. Like we're here arguing over who has the claim since we found out about this place like 2 years ago. And it's like, somebody fucking built it 2 billion years ago. Like it really is where we're going into somebody else's house and being like, well, they're not home, so this is mine now.
Yeah.
Um like it was bad enough when humans did that to other humans like 500 years ago. But now we're playing with shit we can't even comprehend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what's our new discussion question this week, Elliot?
Yeah. Well, because our recording schedule is a bit of a mess because we're kicking off this new season schedule perfectly.
Yeah.
We're not going to do a discussion question because we're going to be
What?
recording our next episode pretty soon.
Yeah, true.
But hopefully from there we'll be back to I want to say normal, but I can't call it normal because we haven't actually done it yet.
Yes, but hopefully soon.
Back on plan.
Yeah. So no new discussion question this week, but of course there will still be a discussion thread linked in the show notes. So feel free to go in and leave your thoughts on the chapters this week, or
Yes.
on just the podcast in general, I guess.
Yeah, like we had a number of non-discussion question related bits that
Yes.
we called out because people are like the Royal Charter thing, Scantron's thing about how Havelock always works for the baddies.
Yeah.
40i2 is reading along for the first time and gave this great thing about like what they hope this trilogy's about.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
so like please keep those insights coming even if there's no
Yes.
discussion question. 'Cause they're great.
Yeah, it's always good to get more points to chat through with the gang. So
Yes.
if you have any interesting thoughts about this week's chapters, then leave them
Yeah.
in there.
If I was better at using Reddit, I'd try and engage in those discussions there. But at this point, I know myself well enough to know at the very least we'll bring them up here.
Yeah.
Yes, and if you're confused why this episode's late, check us out on Blue Sky because that's where I posted that this was going to happen.
Yep.
I actually got that slightly wrong in that I said it'd be out even earlier than it was. But the point is, you would have known that it was coming late if you were on Blue Sky.
Yeah. So you've only got yourself to blame.
Yeah.
If you want to find out more about the other great shows on the Duff Media Network, you can go to the website, duffmedia.com. It's a great place to go to find all kinds of cool shows.
Yeah, like Scott's finally watching The Sopranos, which is going to make me watch The Sopranos finally, I think. So,
Will I get it? Maybe I will start watching The Sopranos as well.
I'm really curious. I want to engage with Gabagool, which is his new
Yeah.
Sopranos show, because I want to see
Great
what a
title.
Scott only show is like.
Yeah, a solo pod. What a choice.
So yeah, that seems wild to me. So I want to check it out, but that means I'm gonna have to watch some Sopranos.
You poor thing.
Yeah. Don't forget we also have a Patreon, patreon.com/doofmedia. There's perks for joining as well as just like supporting the network. The sequel to Mercy of Gods, Faith of Beasts, just missed out the Patreon vote for the book club. So I think it's going to get another crack, but you need to be a patron to vote, so go do that. So we have an excuse to talk about the Captives War trilogy some more.
Yeah. But if you're only interested in this series of books, don't worry. We will be back next week with another set of chapters. We'll be discussing chapters 15 through to the interlude after chapter 22.
Yeah. I put that one in bold because I was like, this is a bit of an awkward one. But
Chapters 15 to 22 and a bit.
Yes. There's an interlude right after chapter 22. Read that one too. Now we will be back on the 27th of July for that one. We're just 1 week behind schedule, but it's all going to be fine from here, I promise.
Yay!
I could totally make that promise. It's going to be fine.
Yeah.
So we'll see you then.